Hey guys, it's me, Trevis with PlayerProps.ai. New thumbnail, new show title, new show, new concept, new everything. You're probably asking yourself, what is this all about? Well, let me tell you. This is the second consecutive year that I have entered the largest sports betting contest in the country. There are two of them. There's a lot of sports betting contests in the country, but the two largest ones, the two most prominent ones, are both run by Circa Sports, which is a sportsbook resort and casino in Las Vegas. They have two main contests. They have the Circa Million. The Circa Million contest is where every single week you have to choose 5 spreads. So they say, here's the official spreads. You know, it could be Team A plus 5, Team B minus 5. You just have to choose either side of that. You choose 5 of them every single week. If you get one right, if you choose the correct side of the spread of whatever you choose out of your 5, you get 1 point. If you choose like a plus 4 and the game ends at a 4 margin of victory, then it's a push, you get half a point. And of course, if you choose the wrong side of the spread, you get 0 points. What you're trying to do throughout the entire season from week 1 to week 18 is you're trying to accumulate as many points as possible. Whoever has the most points over 18 weeks, they get a guaranteed $1 million. I don't even know what the official number is this year, but it's definitely more than $1 million, but a guaranteed minimum of $1 million, hence the title Circa Million. Now, what I learned last year while I was doing this for the first time is there are actually prizes for sucking. If you have the least amount of points in the first quarter, which is the first, 4 or 5 weeks of the season, if you have the least amount of points, I think it's like a $25,000 prize. If you have the least amount of points throughout the entire season, I think it might be 100,000 or something like that. So for actually getting the least amount of points, there's big money involved. When I found that out last year, I was like, oh, this is going to be pretty easy. Let me try to just suck. And the hard part is that it's as hard to go 0 for 5 as it is to go 5 for 5, essentially. Because if you're actually trying to pick sucky ones, those are the ones that actually win. So it's just an interesting concept there. So that's the first contest. The second style of contest is called Circa Survivor, and it's pretty self-explanatory if you've ever played a Survivor League. So Survivor Leagues, in a nutshell, how they work is you pick a team every single week. So in week 1, we pick a team. That team has to win. You only pick 1 week at a time. So let's say we pick, if we pick the Kansas City Chiefs, that played last night. Let's say we pick them. We won, so we advance to week 2. If you lose, you are out, and that is it. Also, if you, in theory, picked Kansas City Chiefs last night and you advance to week 2, you cannot pick Kansas City Chiefs again for the rest of the season. So you pick one team every single week, as long as they keep winning, and you can't pick the same team twice. Now, the fine print for the Circa Survivor that I'm hoping a lot of people that are playing this contest don't pay attention to is you actually have to pick a team on Christmas Day and on Thanksgiving, and they don't count for the week games. So Thanksgiving, of course, is a Thursday, so we have to pick a team to win on that Thursday, and then we also have to pick a team to win on that following Sunday. That's just how it works. And so even though there's 18 weeks of the season, you have to pick 20 teams. I think last year there were 4 people that went 20-0, and they split an $8 or $9 million prize. So with the first contest I mentioned, because it goes the entire season and there's a big prize pool, first place, as I said, is guaranteed to win $1 million or more. For this one, let's just say you go 20-0 and no one else goes 20-0, you win over $10 million, hence the thumbnail, $10 million survivor pool here. You don't have to go 20-0. If everybody drops out of the thousands of people that have entered this contest, if everybody loses, let's say it's week 16, and you're the only one left alive, your pick on week 16 won, and everyone else is lost, you win over $10 million. So you don't have to go the entire season, you just have to be the last remaining entry. As I just mentioned last year, they had 4 people that all went 20-0, and they split a cool, I think it was 8.5, maybe $9 million. So the show, moving forward, are going to be me doing just some quick research to figure out what are my 5 spreads and what is my survivor team. And you're probably asking yourself, wait, if you're actually giving us this information before lock happens, doesn't that decrease your chances to win? In theory, you think it would, but if it gets to a point where thousands of people are watching my show because I'm still surviving and they're trying to copy my ideas, then maybe that is good for the YouTube channel, and maybe it's bad. We'll play it by ear, but for now, that's what we're doing. We're just going to assume that not everybody in this contest is watching this YouTube show. But hey, we're growing at an exponential rate, so that might happen. What we're going to do first is we have to figure out our Survivor team. So we're going to figure out the Survivor team first, because that's the $10 million last entry remaining prize. And then after we figure that out, we're going to look at the spreads, and we're going to figure out what our 5 spreads are. So that is the show concept. If you have any questions, let me know on YouTube, comments, and then, of course, you just ask me in the Discord as well. It's easier that way. Tomorrow, which is Saturday, November 7th at 11 a.m. Eastern Time, make sure you set your alarms and be on this YouTube channel because we're doing our very first live stream. We're starting a Sunday morning show where we do a live stream called $1 in a Dream, where I use PlayerProps.ai and I use all of your insight and your picks and your feedback in the YouTube comments during the live stream, and we build a massive lotto ticket that is at minimum 100x. So we're turning $1 to $100 or more. Because I'm going to be flying to New York on Sunday early morning for a bucket list item to go see the men's final of the U.S. Open tennis match, I'm not going to be able to do this on Sunday, the show, so that's why we're doing it tomorrow instead. But moving forward, after tomorrow, it will be on Sundays, 11 a.m. But tomorrow, Saturday, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, do not miss that. Especially because, I mean, if everybody that tunes in and locks in the same parlay, if we all hit this massive 100x parlay, and I told you about it, you didn't set your alarm, you're going to feel pretty bad. That's what's going to happen. You're going to regret it. Let's figure out our Survivor. If you've never done Survivor before, something you definitely want to pay attention to, as I've pulled up on the screen here. So, as I mentioned, there's 18 weeks, and there's 20 picks. So you see there's 20 rows here because I added Christmas Day and added Thanksgiving. So what I did first is I wanted to make sure that we had a Christmas Day pick, because there's fewer games on Christmas than there are on Thanksgiving. Because you have to pick a Christmas Day game, the only 2 fathomable options essentially is Kansas City and Baltimore, which of course are 2 of the best teams in the entire league. So statistically speaking, I feel that people that aren't paying attention to the fine print and they don't realize they have to pick a Christmas game, they're going to pick KC and Baltimore early to where they're going to have to pick a massive underdog on Christmas Day. And if the underdog doesn't win, they get knocked out in week 18 with only 2 weeks remaining to make a ton of change. So I did that. So Kansas City, which they actually already have lines out for that Christmas game, minus 5.5, Baltimore minus 2. That's why you see the spreads here. And then what I did is I went up here to row 13, and I picked 4 fathomable teams for Thanksgiving Day. I believe Miami actually versus Green Bay. That's kind of a coin flip scenario. So if one team has a lot of injuries, hopefully it's not my Dolphins. But if one team is injury plagued, I can see either of these 2 teams winning this game. But of course, if they're both healthy, it's going to be Miami. Then what I did is after I did those 2 days, then I went down here to week 18. And I just looked at the schedule. I said, what is this? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So I have 8 columns here. So I started at the end because I want to make sure that I get all the way, not to week 18, but through week 18. Because if I pick a winning team, if I make it all the way week 18 and pick a winning team, I'm going to be splitting a $10 million plus prize or getting the whole thing by myself if there are no other entries alive. And that's beyond life-changing money. That's an insane amount of money. So it's pretty much you're more than less guaranteed $1 million if you make it all the way through this. So we started week 18. I looked at the schedule. I said, okay, what are teams? I mean, we haven't seen anybody play besides the game last night. What are teams just off the cuff that we could, based on their matchups for that week, that we could fathomably see us picking? So I picked some teams here, and then went to week 17, week 16. There's a lot of weeks, like you see here. 15 has Philly, 14 has Philly. So I didn't just choose, one. Make sure I didn't do any matches. I just picked a bunch of teams that could fathomably win based on what I believe is going to happen in that game or throughout the season. So then we worked our way up, and then we finished week 1. So this kind of helps you paint a picture. So, for example, I believe a staggering favorite by an insane margin for week 1, everybody's picking Seattle. Everybody and their mom are picking Seattle for, it could be 2 reasons that are kind of the same reason. The first reason is I believe they have the highest spread. They are the most favored team of week 1. So Seattle, what time is their game? Let me pull it up here real quick. They are playing the Broncos. They are a 6-point favorite, 4 p.m. Sunday game. There's no other team that has a 6-point spread or higher. The next highest is... Oh, correction, sorry. There are 2. But I still think they're the favorite because of their matchup. But there are 2 other ones. You have the Bengals, who are versing the Patriots, who are 8.5 favorite. But a lot of people are going to maybe save the Bengals. And there's also the Bills that are a 6.5 favorite. So it's not that they're the highest favorite, which is what I mistakenly said earlier. It's that they're the highest favorite for a team that people aren't necessarily going to keep in their back pocket. Because with Survivor, you want to save the best teams for last. Because if you utilize all of the best teams early in a Survivor League, you're going to have to pick crappy teams and just hope that they upset later on. And instead of doing that, you want to save the best teams for last. So that's why Seattle is a majority favorite by a large margin of what I'm seeing for week 1. And the coolest part is, which I will be posting in the Discord and probably on social media as well, is that once everything's locked in, which I believe it's like 2 or 3 p.m. Vegas time on Saturday, once all of the Survivor picks are locked in, the Twitter account for Circa actually spits out the ownership information. So it'll say out of 10,000 entries, 60% of them have Seattle, 20% have Philadelphia, 10% have Buffalo, and it'll even say something which is still silly to me because this thing cost $1,000 to enter. It'll still say no selection, I think, or something like that, which means somebody actually paid $1,000 to enter this contest and didn't get their pick in time. There's at least 1 or 2, if not more people, every single week that forget to put their picks in time. And it's just, why would you sign up for a $1,000 contest and not like set your alarm every week? But anyway, you don't always want to follow the heavy favorite, because what do you want to happen in Survivor League? You want a lot of people get knocked out every single week except for you. If you are following the heaviest, most popular pick every single week, you're probably part of a massive slaughter when the most favored Survivor pick gets eliminated. Of course, we see that every year. Can the rookie quarterback Bo Nix upset the Seattle Seahawks in his first start? Sure. Any given Sunday, right? Is Seattle going to have like a 40-50% selection for everybody that's playing this contest? I don't know what it's going to be, but it's going to be pretty high. So I would essentially want to root against Seattle if I'm not picking them, because that's going to be the biggest blow to expediting my $10 million win. I did pull up here some other, so we can kind of see spreads and play around with things here. But, so yeah, Seattle I think is going to be the biggest ownership. Then we'd probably go to Bengals. And maybe Bills third. Because I feel like a lot of people, even though the Bills are 6.5 favorites, I feel like a lot of people might just be keeping them in their back pocket. I can see a lot of people going Saints over Panthers, because last year, if you just chose the team the Panthers were versing, you made it pretty far, because they were horrendous, hot garbage. But do I trust the Saints in an early division game as only a 4-point favorite against the Panthers, where Bryce Young has a full, full season under his belt? That's only a 3.5 here on FanDuel. No, we're not risking it like that. It is good to pick something that's not favored early on and hope everything crumbles for the top favorites, but you also want to advance. So you have to make a decision that makes it to you want to advance. I have DraftKings pulled up here as well. But I don't know. It's This is for the spreads here. We'll look at this in a second, but this is what I mentioned before. The other contest has the spreads here to pick, but I think I found a stat. So going back to the Broncos and the Seahawks, I'm pretty sure I found a stat that was like no rookie quarterback has won week 1 for the last like 16 starts. Let me see if I can find that real quick. Rookie QBs starting week 1. Historical. Oh. The past 5 seasons, they're 0-7-1. Rookie QBs have a 16-35-1 record. The last QB to win a week 1 start was Sam Darnold. Of all rookie QBs, Sam Darnold with the Jets against Detroit in 2018. So it has not happened the past 5 seasons. Do we think Nix is going to be the first quarterback since 2018 to win his first start in week 1? The thing is that with the rookie QBs, there's so much unknown. There's so much unknown about how great are they going to be in the NFL. Like, we don't know how Caleb, you know, we've seen him, we've learned a lot about him with Hard Knocks and everything. He's got a ton of weapons, but how great can he be in the NFL when it's not preseason, it's actually live regular game stuff versus starting defenses? Same thing with down here with Washington Commanders. How great can Jaden Daniels be? But I feel so. Also, I did mention the very, very beginning of this podcast that I did this last year. I made it to week 10, and I chose the Bengals to beat Houston Texans because which most people did for that week because we didn't think C.J. Stroud was C.J. Stroud by then. But apparently C.J. Stroud was always C.J. Stroud. And so that upset knocked me out and ruined my season. But they do have the highest spread. I still think the Seahawks are going to be the number 1 team. So I think what I'll do here, I don't want to rely on the Bengals later in the season because I did that last year and they burned me. So if they have anything close to a 10-point spread as they do here, I think I'll lean Bengals and hoping that the majority of people pick Seahawks, and then Bo Nix doesn't have to have a stellar first game. He just needs to win by 1 point. So if they win by 1 point and it's like a 21-20 game, that's enough for me. The Bengals have... Also, do we even know as of the recording if Jamar Chase is playing or is he still holding out? Because if his holdout goes into week 1, that'll be crazy. So before I actually lock that in, let me pull an update on Jamar Chase real quick. Chase, a day ago, Chase practices as Bengals pose to be flexible. Explains, he just wants a new contract. All he wants, his contract, he just wants 1 penny more than Justin Jefferson. That's all he's asking for. So is that going to cause a lot of issues? I don't want any bad omens. And if that's a negative narrative for the Cincinnati Bengals, I mean, also the Patriots are without Bill Belichick. I feel like this is another trap game. Just give me a second here. I'll pick something and I'll get to the spread part of this in a hot minute. I just don't want to rush things here. The FanDuel again. Let's see. I think 8 as well. Let me check the trends. That's the last thing I'm going to check here. how much of the money has been bet on either side. Spread. Okay, so I told you that the Saints, like I don't trust the Saints. 78% of all of the money that's been wagered on either side of the spread for the Panthers-Saints game, 78% of the money is on Panthers +4. But again, we're not betting the spread. We're just betting the Saints win by 1. But still, that's something I look at. Almost half of the amount of money bet on the money line of the Broncos or the Seahawks, almost half, it's almost even, 45% is on the Broncos to win straight up. So that's what I'm saying, is that there's a lot of money hoping that Bo Nix is gonna crush it in his first start. So I think we might still stick with so for the Bengals, 85% of the money on either of the money lines on either side, 85% of the money is on Bengals money line, 93% of all bets have been on Bengals money line, 74% of the spread has been on the Bengals, 77% of the money has been on the Bengals, and also a ton on the under as well. It's going to be a low-scoring game. The Bengals are going to win. We don't need the Bengals to cover 8 points. Like I said, we just need them to win by 1. So I think that's what we're going to do. And if you're probably asking yourself, Trevis, what the heck are you looking at? It's not pulled up on screen. This is betting trends information that, to reward you guys for making this far in the video, is something that we're building into the site right now. But keep that quiet, because if you didn't watch this video, you're not allowed to know about that yet. But we are building those data points into the site, and we're very excited about it. Okay, so our survivor pick for week 1 is going to be the Cincinnati Bengals. Now, let's look at the spreads. So here we have, these are the spreads that were just released. We're not going to worry about, actually, no, we don't want to worry about Friday. We're not going to worry about Friday's game because I don't even think we have time. Available till Friday at 2. We're already past this. We can't even lock this in even if we wanted to. I had already looked at a bunch of these. I don't like, there's just lines I don't like. Like if this was minus 2.5, I like that narrative because that means they just have to have a field goal to win. But this means they have to win by a touchdown, essentially. I mean, it could be, they could still win by 4 points, but I'm just going back and forth on game script on what needs to happen for this to cover. So we know that a ton of people are doing Panthers +4. I mean, we can hedge our Bengals survivor pick by picking Patriots +8.5, which both of them can win. If the Bengals win by 8 points, 1 to 8 points, we win both of those. So maybe we'll do that. We'll pick that. So if we lose in the first week, heaven forbid, we win one of our spread picks. I don't want to do anything with the rookie quarterback, though. Cardinals and Bills. Bills lost their top 2 receivers. I think Justin Herbert's definitely going to outduel the Raiders. And so there's a lot of, so there's both general reasoning and then there's personal reasoning. So for example, in my college friend's fantasy league, I drafted Jaden Daniels as my starting quarterback. I feel like he's going to have 1,000 yards rushing this season. So if he doesn't do well and the Buccaneers destroy the Commanders, both defensively and offensively, then I think the Buccaneers can cover this minus 3.5. The Seahawks, Broncos, we're going to stay away from that game completely. So we've picked 3 already, right? Yeah, Patriots +8.5, Chargers, Buccaneers. Let's see what else we got. We got Jets +4.5. Also, if you've never played this before, so these spreads are locked. They send out the spreads. Here are the week one spreads. So if there's something that happens, like a like pre-lock, somebody hurts their foot walking to camp, or whatever, on Friday or Saturday, whatever it may be, you can use that to your advantage. So you don't want to just, as soon as these drop, like right now in theory, you don't want to just quickly lock them in. You want to milk it as much as possible to the deadline of locking them in, so you can play news, because there's been a lot of things like that where news has been beneficial. Let me see. I think CJ Stroud's going to win by a field goal over healthy Anthony Richardson. So we have 4 there. So we have 2 road spreads, 2 home spreads. I know they're playing at home, but Cowboys and Browns week 1 is very interesting, because if I didn't see was a minus, I think the -2 is just a home field advantage, because I would assume that the Cowboys would have it would either be a toss-up or they'd be slightly favored on their money line. Lions coming off of one of their best seasons in a long time. You know what? I think also because I saw a lot of trends. I know you can't see behind my face right here, but since I saw a lot of trends, I think I'm going to go with Jets 4.5 as my last one. Because if Aaron Rodgers crushes it this season, which I don't want because that's bad for our division, then I might as well get the underdog Jets spreads as often as possible before they start getting favored in all their games. So we're going to do Jets 4.5. So you have Jets 4.5, Buccaneers -3.5, Chargers -3, Texans -2.5, Patriots +8.5. Ladies and gents, we got there eventually. And so, yeah, as we continue to go on, we'll update. So next Friday, I'll have a show where we'll say, like, hey, our Bengals won. We're on to week 2. Here's our 5 picks. Here's how they did. We're on to week 2. And it's just kind of a brain dump going through things and how we're attacking it strategically and what we're going through. But I'm going to wait till those are my tentative locks. I'm going to wait a little bit closer to lock, which I have roughly 24 hours, I think. A little under 24 hours, maybe 20 hours to lock those in. But yeah, so if you're doing a Survivor League, if you're doing a Pick'em League like that, that's what I'm playing. And we'll see you guys tomorrow morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time for the live stream where we create a 100x or greater parlay. Thanks for tuning in for this one. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Good luck.